Hi, I'm Donna Ray.
And I'm Al Wadley.
Welcome to our podcast, Feldenkrais for Life.
In each episode, we will discuss ideas and experiences pertaining to the Feldenkrais method.
You're going to learn skills that will move pain to comfort, anxiety to ease, and we'll explore learning and how to spark creativity.
To learn more about Donna, visit her site at donnaray.com.
To find Al Wadley, go to achievingexcellence.com. Hi, Al. Good to see you.
Hey, Donna. Good to see you, too.
It's been quite a while. I've been busy teaching in Europe, teaching Feldenkrais training programs. I've been home a couple of weeks, but upon arrival, I immediately jumped in with my 3 grandchildren, which is absolutely wonderful. So I'm a little tired this morning. I'm recuperating.
Good. I'm glad you're recuperating. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I got some pretty good energy and been doing really well this fall and winter with my energy and feeling up and motivated. So we're going to talk about body budgeting today. And so I was curious, what's your body budget like today?
And that's a great question. And we learned that term from Lisa Feldman Barrett, the neuroscientist that wrote the book, How Emotions Are Made. And I love the term. I think body budget really helps us clarify what we need to pay attention to. So today, I'm aware that I need to take it easy, have some rest, not put too much on my plate. And in fact, that's the plan for today and tomorrow. And then I have some extended time off over this holiday season. So even knowing that I have some time for well-being without a lot of heavy schedule in the near future makes me feel even better this morning. So I can accept the fact that I need that, and I'm looking forward to it. So I understand the opposite is true too, that if you're anticipating a high demand period, your brain is already anticipating the stress of the energy output. And by becoming aware of that, then we can mitigate some of that stress by planning intervals of rest, making sure that we're eating well, sleeping well, having nurturing social time. So this body budget idea is incredibly useful and informative. How do you use it, Al?
Yeah, I think you're spot on about that. And I do try to pay attention to myself and notice if I'm feeling down or kind of run down or tired. What's that about? I'm trying to hone in on what is that? Is that something I ate? Did I not sleep well? Maybe it was an interaction I had with somebody or something like that that maybe affected me in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
And at other times, like today and this weekend, we've got a painting project going on. We're repainting the bedroom. And we're both like super excited about it, energized for this big change we're going to make in there. So it's a really positive feelings and positive expectations about that. It is an output of energy because it's a big project, but it's like super exciting and it's giving us energy to move forward and do this. So a big project doesn't necessarily have to be like a taxation, but it can be like a real motivation to help build up the energy. So it's a matter of, constantly kind of paying attention, calibrating, listening, sensing. Where am I at on this scale of feeling good and feeling not so good to fill in the gaps that things are missing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Dr. Feldman Barrett says, ask the question, what is pleasurable and what is not pleasurable? So, with the project that you're anticipating for the weekend, you know that there's going to be a work portion of that. There's energy outlay, but the final project is exactly what you have in mind. It's like the new painted, fresh bedroom. So your intention is to create that nice space for you and your family. And the amount of energy that it takes to accomplish that is very worthwhile. So your intention and your action and your outcome are all lined up. Your desires are lined up. And that actually helps balance the body budget. So if you have desires going this way and that way and you're not lining up, It's very taxing on the system. And emotionally, it can make us into kind of cranky, irritable people, which, has to do with affect, which is the outward expression of a person's internal emotions. So what's going on the inside actually comes out constantly. It's inside, outside. And people, like you're saying, well, we have to interpret what other people are doing too with how they're behaving. And if we understand this body budget metaphor, I think we can help ourselves and help other people by describing more specifically what is going on with them.
And it does take some practice to learn to listen to yourself in such a way that you can start to calibrate to what's affecting you and what you're responding to, or is this something that, internal to yourself that you need to pay attention to. Maybe you're starting to get sick or something. You need to attend to that more. You were talking, I was reviewing, what if we were doing this bedroom, but, so my wife wanted to paint it and I didn't, but I'm doing it anyway. Then it's just like I'd be kind of begrudged about it. And it wouldn't be as exciting and energizing. It'd be more of a taxation. So how we approach these things makes a big difference. Yeah, so it's a matter of learning to pay attention and sense, these, and ask the questions. Slow down enough to be able to sense what you're feeling and ask the question, like, well, what is this related to?
That's such a big part of what we do in the Feldenkrais method. We slow down. And at the beginning of each movement lesson, almost traditionally, we lie on the floor and scan ourselves and pay attention to sensations and feelings and even thoughts and our connection with ourselves and the floor that we're resting on. And that's a process of developing interoception and being able to put our finger on exactly what you're saying. It's like, what's happening with my body right now, with me? I even like to bypass body somewhat, but I think actually making the distinction helps. But what's happening with me right now? Am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I coming down with something? Am I anticipating something? Am I excited? Am I just plain thrilled to be lying on the floor and doing a Feldenkrais lesson because they're so useful and they make me feel so good?
Definitely.
What's going on? So identifying interoception. Some people feel their heart beating. Some people don't. Some people feel the gurgling in their stomach when they're hungry. Some people don't. Like, what do you identify? Or if you have an ache here or there, how do you respond to that? Is it something that comes and goes? Most aches and pains come and go. Some linger. So your attitude and your response to all of your sensations and your feelings really matters.
Yeah, it does matter. It does matter. And it is really important to learn to sense them and pay attention to them. And that is such a beautiful thing about our work in the Feldenkrais method, is that we are learning to sense ourselves and learning to sense ourselves in a very accurate way, which I don't know any other systems that teach it like we do and as clearly as we do. It's a part of every lesson to really sense yourself accurately.
Yeah, something that's different about the Feldenkrais method and other forms of scanning is that we do a lot of comparing to form perception and self-awareness. So it's more than just resting. It's actually being acquainted with how you're making contact with the floor, what feels heavy, what's light, what's lifted, what's pressing, comparing one shoulder blade to the other shoulder blade, one arm to the other one. Does one feel longer? Is one rotated inward or outward? All these really important details are asked, and which brings attention to the finest way that we perceive ourselves. And the act of attending actually begins to change how we're sensing ourselves, because the nervous system responds to the questioning and the comparisons.
Yeah. Like you said, we start a lesson and lay on the floor, we do a scan, and people even feel a difference in the way they contact the floor before and after the scan. So just the act of bringing your attention to yourself, making these comparisons, which heel presses more, which shoulder blade has more contact, how is the pelvis resting on the floor, one side to the other, and then before and after, you'll find that there is a big difference. that, as you said, the nervous system is responding to these questions. It's like making these comparisons in a granular way to sense and make these distinctions. It triggers the nervous system, it stimulates it to make changes in the overall sense and presentation of yourself lying on the floor.
Yeah, so listeners, just for the heck of it, let's do this experiment. Continue listening, but at the same time you're listening, pay attention to your left eye. Just your left eye. Yeah, your left eye. And when you pay attention to your left eye, include how you're seeing with your left eye, the orbit of your eye. You can feel the inside of your left eye near your nose. You might even find that your eye moves a little bit when you think of the inside toward your nose. And when you think of the outside of the orbit toward the ear, notice does your eye move a little bit as if to look toward your left ear. So as you're paying attention and using your attention, your nervous system responds. And you might even sense your left eye and start including your left cheek or the left side of your forehead, because you begin to expand your awareness whether you want to or not. And you include more and more of the surrounding area of that particular place. So notice your left eye now, the left side of your face, your left ear. And notice your breathing and keep listening. And you can ask yourself, is it pleasurable to sense the left side of my face and my left eye like this? Is it unique? And is it growing? Is it growing so that you sense the left side of your neck or your left shoulder? Because it probably is. For most people, it just expands. So you can go from this very specific attention and monitoring, and then watch how things change. It's like dropping watercolor on a piece of paper that already has water on it, on the surface, so that when you drop the color, it just disperses. And that's one of the ways that attention works. And when that expands, you're expanding your interoception. You're actually becoming more aware of yourself internally. But the eye's a funny thing because it's inside and it's outside, isn't it? More than anything. So when we then expand the interoception and the sensitivity of the use of your left eye, and then you start to see your surroundings, you bring in proprioception. And the proprioception gives you a sense of where you are. So you might be sitting at your desk, maybe you're sitting in your living room, you might even be driving a car. And it's even safe to do this driving a car because you're seeing even better. It's making you pay attention to how you're seeing and where you are. So proprioception includes not only where you are in the space that you're in, but where your limbs are, where your body is. So let's add another funny thing. Take your left index finger and touch the tip of your nose. Now, and then take it away and do it again. Now, some people miss the tip of their nose. I've given this instruction to many people in large groups, and many people get the side of their nose, a nostril, or above the tip. Just hitting the tip is not that easy. You have to know where your finger is, and you have to know where your nose is. And when was the last time, other than blowing your nose, that you touched? Probably not even the tip, because mostly when we blow the nose, we go toward the nostrils. So knowing where your arm is in space, knowing where it's moving, calculating the rhythm, the speed, all of that's proprioception. So there's a lot to this self-awareness, inside, outside. Now go back to your left eye and sense the left side of your face and compare it to the right one. What are you noticing now?
I have a very large left eye. Left side of my face feels more vibrant and alive. So it's a fascinating thing that just the act of bringing awareness and making these granular distinctions, it amplifies the sensations of these different parts. We do this all the way through Feldenkrais lessons. When we're doing movements, we're paying attention, we're amplifying the sensation of these different parts in relationship to each other, in relationship to the floor. And that stimulates your brain, stimulates your sensory cortex, motor cortex, everything becomes more enlivened with your sensations, your awareness, and your sense of self as you're describing your proprioception as you're moving through space. So you really get a sense of where you are and who you are moving through space very solidly and very clearly, which is really quite remarkable.
And how your parts are relating to each other.
Yes.
So let me ask you something else. After this little experiment, I'm going to read a list of words and see which ones you relate to. Amazed, awe, bliss, delighted, eager, ecstatic, enchanted, energized, engaged, enthusiastic, excited, free, happy, inspired, invigorated, lively, playful, refreshed, satisfied, thrilled, vibrant. Would you say any of those words apply?
I'd say quite a few, especially starting with amazing. I'm always amazed in Feldenkrais lessons. I teach multiple classes a week, and I work with a lot of people every week. And every lesson, I swear, every lesson, there's something amazing that happens. Even though I know it's going to happen and know what I'm doing, I can create these experiences for people. And yet I'm still amazed by it. I'm in awe, and I'm inspired, and I'm excited by it.
Delighted.
Delighted, yeah, because it's so cool and it's so exciting when these very simple but amazing experiences come to the foreground.
Yeah, so there are all these words, and there's more of how to describe your experience, and the listeners can play with this too. But coming up with a larger repertoire of words that describe our experiences help us expand our attention and look for them. As we know, the brain is predicting the next experience. So from this manipulation of attention and then having this response, we can come up with all kinds of things. It creates calmness, openness, contentment, surprise, delight. And oftentimes we settle with, yeah, I feel good, or that's interesting. Those are kind of my go-to words. They're not very granulated.
Yeah. This list of words you just read, it makes me think of a couple of things. So one is it's priming your mind and your state. And it's going to influence what happens next. And I want to just share a bit of research that's been done, and it works with this whole idea of priming your state. So they take these college students, and the college students are asked to go into this room. They're given a list of words and to write a paragraph using those words. And the words all have to do with aging and being old, being elderly. And so they write this paragraph. And so what happens next, of course, they're observed before they go in the first room. And they're told, now, all right, now take this piece of paper, walk down the hall, and give it to this person in this other room. So they're observed a second time. They walk down the hall. There's a change in their behavior. They walk more like an older person. Their gait shortens. They lower their head. They round their back. And that's that simple. And we're that susceptible to being primed. So what you're thinking about, like this beautiful list of words you just read, are going to prime me, prime you, prime our listeners. But whatever comes next is going to have a little bit different hue to it. It's going to be a little bit brighter, a little funner, better positive expectation about what's going to happen. So something that's that simple.
Yeah, it's simple, and it's incredibly complex.
Powerful.
And powerful.
Powerful.
You're describing how we're constantly affected by our environment, by our thoughts, the word selection, and which is creating our moment-to-moment experience.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And how much choice we have in the matter. And, that's what the Feldenkrais method is really about, is creating a life of freedom, of choice. And the way that we can do that is discerning, is by making discernments, distinctions, granularity, whatever you want to call it, and then selecting the words that describe how we're feeling. And, this goes with, if you're not feeling all that well, then it's we have times like that. It's like sometimes we don't feel that good. But if you just leave it with, I don't feel good, it doesn't convey much to the people around you. If you just say a little bit more, I'm low energy, I feel a little bit withdrawn, I'm needing to spend some time alone. I think I need more water today. I need to drink more water. Hot chicken soup sounds really good. It's like get into a few more details about what you're feeling, what you need, so that people can support you or you can support yourself. Not just, well, I feel bad. That's not enough.
Yeah. There's an interesting phenomenon I've noticed in my practice over the years. Somebody will come in and they're feeling very tired and they have heavy limbs and that tired feeling throughout themselves. And it's a curious thing. That feeling of being tired is expressed through their musculature. It's a certain pattern of muscular contraction that gives them that weighted, heavy, tired feeling. And so I'll give them a lesson. And at the end of the lesson, they're relieved of that. They have a totally different state. They feel light, they feel grounded, they feel uplifted, they feel really good, motivated. They may still be tired, but they don't have that heavy, tired feeling. But now they feel relaxed and comfortable in a way that they can be more rejuvenated and take some time for themselves.
As you were describing that, heavy really stood out to me. So when we feel tired, we often feel heavy. And if you do a Feldenkrais lesson, lay down and do an awareness for movement lesson, that will get rid of the heaviness most of the time because the energy is spread throughout the whole system. Your muscle tonus changes, and that is a complete shift in your brain and nervous system. And you've been paying attention to what feels good and making these comparisons and your breathing. And so there's a whole process of reorganization for action in every Feldenkrais lesson. And that's going to shift the way that you're interpreting your sensations. I've done this numerous times, actually. I'm glad you brought it up because I'm going to go do it in a little while. Of not feeling well and then lying down and doing a lesson and getting up and going, I feel fine now. I feel well. How did I just go from feeling like I was going to go take a nosedive downward? And now I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm ready for the day. Yeah, I'll still take it easy, but with a much better affect.
Yes.
My expression from the inside to the outside world is going to be vastly different than if I don't lay down and do that lesson.
If you want to change your affect, do a Feldenkrais lesson.
Yeah. And
it makes a difference.
Yeah, you go through self-reflection, self-care, self-love, feeling warm and cozy, all these wonderful things rather than the alternative. So we can really cultivate pleasant in any situation. Well, I hope this conversation's been helpful to our listeners.
I enjoyed it.
I did too. And I know what I'm going to do next.
And I know what I'm going to do next too. What are you going to do?
You're going to go paint?
I'm going to paint. What are you going to do?
I'm going to lie down and do an awareness for movement lesson.
Cool, man. Good choice. I'll do a painting awareness through movement lesson. That's what I'll do.
Well, you know what? That's possible. While you're in action, I know you're going to pay attention to how you're painting and how you're using yourselves. And maybe you'll paint with your right hand and with your left hand. And
pay attention to my breath.
To your breath.
Yeah.
Rhythm.
Person.
Mm-hmm. Can you send me a picture? I'm really curious about this newly painted bedroom.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you some pictures of the other stuff we did too. It's just totally changing the house. Just amazing.
What fun. Okay, well, have a great time. It was fun talking with you. And take care, listeners.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye. If you'd like to follow up with a question, send an email to info@feldenkreisforlife.com. We would love to hear from you.
You can learn more about us on our websites.
You can find Al at achievingexcellence.com.
You can visit my site to join my classes and reach out to me for private lessons. online or at my Longmont studio. You'll find my store, Feldenkrais store, there as well. We can purchase books, audio products, and videos. Donna's website is donnaray.com.
And if you visit my website, you'll find that I'm offering individual sessions, group classes in the Feldenkrais method, mentoring groups, professional Feldenkrais training program information, and recorded lessons.
Thank you again so much for joining us. I look forward to you hearing us next week.
Bye now.
Bye.